Yo, what is good, my fellow deadheads? We are back with yet another Kaiju number 8 video, and today we are going to be doing the breakdown for Kikoru Shinomiya, and we're going to be talking about how good she is as a 5-star character. I always want to say SSR, but as a 5-star character, we're going to be talking about all the pros, the cons, how you should build her, what weapons are the best for her, and all that goodness. But if you guys have been riding along with the Deadman for this entire unit breakdown series, and these videos have been somewhat helpful to you, have given you more insights on characters that you've either been looking at, but just have not really been trying to figure out too much, characters, because I understand some people don't like to look at parts of the character until they unlock that part of the character, because it's kind of like, why even look at that part of the character if it's not going to do me any good right now, right? Like, I remember in Grand Cross, I don't even feel like I would necessarily look at passives anymore, because I always hear about how the passive is supposed to work from a video, then I hop in the game instantly and just unlock the passive. I'm not thinking about the passive until I unlock it, because I'm like, it's not even a part of the character I can use, right? Which, in Grand Cross, that's a little extreme, because you usually unlock the passive as soon as you get the character. But like, in a game like this, where you only have one initial passive and then you have to unlock 3 more, you kind of can just let those other 3 fall to the wayside, right? Even if you do unlock them, they can still be sitting there on the wayside and you don't even know, you never go back to look over them again. So that is what the purpose of these videos are for, and also so that everybody who downloads the Steam version in 2 weeks or a little under 2 weeks from now has the proper information that they need to get through all of this, to figure out what units to work on, really. Like, this isn't supposed to be me telling you what units, like, you work on this unit, don't work on this unit. But I feel like if you guys listen to me in these videos and you hear kind of like my reasonings, you can figure out what you want your playstyle to be, and you can figure out what characters you want to work on. Do you want to have the most absolutely insane turtle tank account? Alright, cool. Summon for Sagan, summon for Esau, or use your selector on Esau, so you have 2 tanks and just go from there. I don't know. Do you want to have the most absolutely ass-ripping damage account ever? Summon for Reno, get this man Narumi from the free ticket, work on those characters, right? But in general, from what I'm saying about these characters, you guys should know whether you want to work on them or not after you hear me talk about them. Like, okay, this is for me or not. That's why I start these videos off with the pros and the cons, because typically the pros and the cons are the most glaring problems and W's of the character. If you want to deal with those problems or you want those W's, then hey, work on the character. If you feel like it's just overall too cumbersome, don't work on the character. It is what it is. But if you guys do enjoy these videos, you can go down below, you can leave a like, you can hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the Deadman hits the Hoshin style sword slay glide. You didn't think I was there, did you? And you can also comment down below and let me know what you want to know, if you're building these characters any differently, and you know, if there's anything that I'm missing, you know, leave recommendations for other people in the comments, because definitely one meta of YouTube now is that people will look at a video and instantly scroll down to the comments to see what was said. So if you say something impactful in the comments, you could definitely help somebody out. You never know. Just put the positivity out there, pay it forward. But guys, we're gonna go ahead and get right into the video. So as I looked over at Kikoru, I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 with her. I really like her, but then also feel like, I don't know. And that's because I'm just gonna go ahead and say the only con I could see for her. But, and you know, being not as good as Narumi or not as good as Hoshina is not really a con, because all these characters are kind of like on the same tier. So it's like, more so, Narumi being the best DPS is more of a pro for him, versus it being I'm not going to use weaker than Narumi as a con for every character. That's unfair, right? Because Narumi was just designed very well, a very strong unit. But for one of her cons, or her only con, I put down that you probably want a 6 for her, because she has a thing that stacks called Tip Top Shape. She has this buff called Tip Top Shape that stacks, but every time she uses her ultimate, it consumes all of her Tip Top Shake stacks. The reason why I say you want to have her A6 is because at A6, she no longer loses her Tip Top Shape stacks, and she also can stack 2 extra Tip Top I'm thinking of Shake Shack every time I say this shit. Tip Top Shape stacks. There we go. But that's the only con I have for her. And the reason why it's a con is because if you want to play with her like free, you know what I'm saying? Like, some characters are free. You put them in, you press auto, they do the damage, it's whatever. Reno, Narumi, Kaiju number 8, free. They're just doing the damage. But when you look at Kikoru, she's going to be somebody who is sometimes hitting really good damage, and then sometimes just hitting like passable damage, right? And that's because sometimes she's going to have tip-top shape, sometimes she's not going to have tip-top shape. But when she does have it, she's going to be looking really impressive, and it's going to make those moments where she doesn't have it feel really bad. And that's why I say for best results, A6, because if you have her A6, she's going to always have the tip-top shape, and it's just always going to be there, and the damage is always going to look impressive, but that is why it's a con, because to get to that level, it is high investment. And this is something, even though I spend money in the game, I still do like to make these videos from I try to think about it in a free-to-play perspective, like, who would have access to this? Okay, this is a character that people can select, but then at this point, is it even a character you should select? Because I think A6 is going to be the best for it, and we'll go through the Ascension. Obviously, we do that every video, but you guys can kind of determine whether you think the Ascension is worth it or not before A6, but I think that it is most worth it when she gets to A6. That is why I don't know if she's really worth the investment, because I feel like you're really not going to get that full benefit of her until you get her to that final level. And then some of the pros that she has is that she is a self-buffing unit, just the way that her kit works, and also she has defense debuffing on her ultimate, I believe, and it's a pretty good defense debuff. Like, it makes your damage skyrocket to such a crazy degree. Nothing on the level of like how Reno is giving your entire team extra damage, but still, these are standard banner units. These are options for people who maybe did not get the best characters. All right, guys, so we're gonna take a look at Kikoru's passives now. Her first passive is going to be called Rising Morale. After activating skills other than the ultimate, because her ultimate takes away her tip-top shape stacks, after applying other skills than the ultimate, applies 1 stack of tip-top shape to this unit with a max of 3 stacks. After activating the ultimate, consumes all of this unit's tip-top shape stacks. But when the unit does have a tip-top shape stack, for each stack, she is going to be getting 5.5 attack and then 11% crit damage. You can see a lot of the buffs like this. Typically, one of the values that is getting buffed is like getting buffed at half the rate of the other value, because if attack had a higher buff than the crit damage, then like she should be doing more damage outright. So they kind of got to mix it up in a way where there's like a chance of it being more damage, right? If the crit rate doesn't proc, if the crit doesn't proc, then the extra damage isn't there, but at least she's still getting the attack damage in there in the mix. So a little bit of a holding her back type of thing, but nonetheless, she's still going to be, I think, really good. If you get her A6, I'll be honest, like, even though it is high investment, I think that A6, she will be absolutely cracked. I think Madutore made a video talking about her at A6. I didn't watch it, but I saw the thumbnail, and I feel like I saw a really big number for damage on the screen there, but the additional passive, or the first additional passive skill, is going to be at the start of the battle, this unit's ultimate gauge plus 60. So somewhat of an ult rush type of thing being set up here. We'll see a little bit more as we read into it. Additional passive number 2. If tip-top shape is at 1 or more stacks, this unit's effect hit rate is plus 30%. So like I said, on the ultimate, we have a defense debuff. So this is just going to make it so that if she has tip-top shape, when she does her ultimate, the defense debuff is a little bit more guaranteed, which is very good. Even though the debuff is only on 1 enemy at a time, I think it is still a very impactful part of her kit. So getting it to be as effective as possible, as often as possible, is definitely going to be the way to go for this character. And then the final additional passive skill is going to be when attacking a kaiju that has 50% or less remaining HP, this unit's combat skill damage is plus 20. And honestly, since that's talking about the combat skill, I guess that's a perfect transition into her skills in general. And usually, guys, I take a moment to kind of talk about the passive skills after I go over all of them. But I feel like hers are pretty once you get lower in tier of the of the 5-star characters, their stuff starts to get really freaking simple. So basically, it looked like the passive is giving her the tip-top shape, and then she is going to be getting extra damage from tip-top shape, extra ultimate gauge to start off, extra effect hit rate from having tip-top shape, and then extra damage in general when a kaiju is at a lower HP percentage. So she's definitely like a boss finisher type of character, but let's look over some of her attack skills. So we have skill number 1. It's going to be a single target attack. It's only slash damage, and it fills your ultimate gauge by 54. Deals slash damage equal to 55% of this unit's attack to a single kaiju. So this again, this is 55%? Is this one 66%? So it looks like the normal and basic attack for because this was the same for Hoshina, I'm pretty sure, right? His skills are level 1, and I'm pretty sure that the first skill gives 55% attack to a single kaiju, and the follow-up gives 66%. And it probably even upgrades the same, where this one boosts by 5%, yes, and then this one boosts by 6%, yes. So it's exactly the same in that regard, but single target attack, a little bit of damage to a single kaiju. It is what it is. It's whatever. Then we got the skill 2, which is going to be a blast attack. This one is called Rotary Slash. And I'm sorry, the first skill is called Squadron Style Axe Technique number 2, Water Skimmer. We have the second skill, Rotary Slash, still only a 1 SP skill. I do like to point that out all the time just because there will finally be one day where we do get a character whose combat skill does take 2 SP, and we just need to make note of that. That's why I always say it only costs 1 SP, because the first time you hear me do a video that says it costs 2 SP, you're gonna instantly notice that you hear something different at that portion of the video when you're used to hearing that. But it fills the ultimate gauge by 81, and it is a blast attack. Deals slash damage equal to 108% of this unit's attack to a single kaiju, and then deals slash damage equal to 54% of this unit's attack to adjacent kaiju. Typically, blast attack are kind of like all the main damage on the main unit, and then half of what the main damage was to the side mobs. That's why you gotta get these characters as strong as possible, so that even the adjacent damage they're doing still just rips ass. Then we have Squadron Style Axe Technique number 1, Falling Thunder. And I'm not gonna lie, I really do love the animation for this skill. It reminds me of the actual anime when she first popped out with the axe and she came falling from the sky and just dropped that shit on somebody. So definitely Kikoru goes hard as shit. Like, she's definitely in the top for my favorite characters, but Hoshina is my favorite character in the series in general. Favorite character in the game is probably Nadumi, but Sagan is creeping up there. Sagan is so fun to use. Okay, ultimate technique is going to be a single target skill, and before attacking, when tip-top shape is at 3 stacks, has a 100% base chance to apply defense minus 8.2% for 2 turns to a single kaiju, and then deals slash damage equal to 227% of this unit's attack to a single target. But I am a little bit curious. I never usually do this, but I just want to see something. When you enhance this skill, it changes the defense down by 0.8%. So is it safe to say that if I level up the skill 10 times, it's going to change by an additional 8%? Is it going to be negative 16.2% and then plus, you know, level 12 from getting extra dupes? So up to a 16% defense debuff, not too bad, especially considering how much damage she's going to be doing on this skill. And honestly, like I said, since her A6 gives her extra stacks of tip-top shape, I feel like they could have made it so that if tip-top shape is at 3 stacks, has a 100% base chance to apply defense, you know, the defense reduction. If it's at more than 3 stacks, has a 100% chance to apply defense reduction, and then also increases like damage dealt, you know, to all allies or something like that. They could have added something extra on, because it just feels like right here they didn't think about the fact that her Ascension passive gives her extra stacks of tip-top shape. And I don't know, they could change it so that when I get that Ascension passive, this right here says tip-top shape when it's at 5 stacks instead, which would only make the skill worse. But maybe it could say something along the lines of like, oh, when you have 5 stacks of tip-top shape, but it's just waiting for me to actually get the A6 to actually prompt it for the skill change. I'm not sure, but yeah, I feel like they definitely missed the mark on that one. They could have put an extra effect up there if you have more than 3 stacks of tip-top shape. But then we have the follow-up attack, which is going to be Squadron Style Axe Technique number 3, Half Moon. This is just as basic as it gets, you know, a single target follow-up attack that deals 66% of this unit's damage to a single kaiju. Whoever was hit last by your battle buddy, I'm pretty sure, is how the follow-up attack is determined. But that is it for the basic skills. Not really anything too crazy. And like I said, when you get to these lower tier of 5-star characters, I finally said 5-star and not SSR, nice. When you get to these lower tier of 5-star characters, you start to realize that the skills don't really have too many crazy effects. Like when you look at like Sagan or something like that, the skills have a bunch of crazy effects. Each part of her passive just has a bunch of like crazy effects. Same thing for Reno, same thing for Narumi. Is actually pretty simple, but it's just like the shit that his buffs give, the buffs that he gets are just so effective that he just hits so hard, right? But her regular battle skills are okay, nothing to write home about, but they're not bad either. Now let's jump over to, what is it, gear recommendations? Of course we jump over to gear recommendations, but after I tell you guys what is the priority for leveling up her skills, or what order you should level up the skills in. If it were me, I would definitely boost the ultimate skill first, just because that's going to be the defense debuff, which I'm not really thinking of using Kikoru as a main debuffer or main attacker. I'm more so looking at her to be like a main debuffer, more than likely, just because I feel like I have units whose damage is going to be a lot stronger than hers. But again, this is different use cases for everybody. Some people may not have Narumi, some people may not have Reno. This might be your best option for damage dealing. Even still, I say the ultimate just because of that defense debuff, and it doesn't really affect the tip-top shape thing. So yes, just the ultimate for the defense debuff. Then I would say the combat skill, because it is an AoE skill and it has the opportunity to do a lot of damage. Then afterwards, I would say do the passive skill, because it's going to level up your tip-top shape and is going to give you a better percentage on your tip-top shape. And honestly, the passive skill could be interchanged with the combat skill, I feel like, but still, tip-top shape is going to be the main thing about this Kikoru. The reason why I didn't feel like putting the passive as the first thing to level up is because you lose tip-top shape at a certain point. So sometimes you will be doing attacks without tip-top shape on. Once you get to A6, you know, if you summon for the first time ever in the game and you get Kikoru A6 off of your initial summons, GG, give me my luck back, because that is some dead man luck right there. But also, if you get her 6 out of 6 initially, then yeah, go for the passive first, because she's never going to lose tip-top shape. But in the current state where she is losing tip-top shape whenever she does her ultimate, I can't say that it's got to be the first skill you want to level up. After you do ultimate, combat skill, and then passive skill, I would say you want to do the follow-up and then the normal attack. But now we can move over to those gear recommendations that I was so excited to get to. So guys, as of right now, I'm going to say leave Kikoru on the lizard type Unipart set, because I just don't see where she's going to be getting extra crit rate in her kit, really. It seems like if you wanted to front load her with crit damage and give her the fungal type set, you might be sadly mistaken when you don't get as many crits as you think. So I think that the lizard type set is probably going to be the best bet for her. Plus, it also applies extra damage dealt to her whenever she does her ultimate. So it's still going to be a good set for her. It's unfortunate that we cannot give her the fungal type set, but hey, bro, that's just how it is on these characters that don't have a lot of natural innate built-in crit rate. But like, even if looking at her Ascension passives, there is something that gives her extra crit rate, but it is very conditional. It is under the condition that a Kaiju is already in a certain status, right? Whereas Narumi, he just gives himself 10% extra crit rate every time he does his combat skill, and the AI literally knows to leave his combat skill loaded up for him when he comes back around. So like, he gets extra 30% crit rate very quickly. The extra crit rate that Kikoru gives from her passive was like an extra 15% for a very specific thing to be happening. But also, guys, if you want to look for some good substats to roll, and these are just kind of like placeholder pieces, but if you want to look for some substats to roll for the lizard type set, you're definitely going to want either attack, crit rate, or slash damage dealt. Again, crit damage isn't going to be really what you want that much, because you don't know if you're going to get those crits off. So rather, you want to just give her the crit rate, because her ultimate, I feel like, is already naturally going to do really high damage anyway, especially if you have tip-top shape on when you let the ultimate rip. But that is enough for the gear, guys. Pretty simple, pretty explanatory. Now we can talk about what her best weapon is. So guys, Kikoru's best weapon is going to be the Axe 0112. What this axe does is gives her extra slash damage, so that's really good. Then also, after equipped unit activates a combat skill, applies attack plus 9% for 2 turns to the equipped unit, max up to 3 stacks. And before the equipped unit attacks a Kaiju that already has a debuff, applies additional damage dealt plus 15% to this unit. So that is just at A0. I would say those buffs are pretty solid. If a Kaiju is already debuffed, she's getting some extra, and she's not going to be the only person with the capability to debuff on your team. I don't think so, right? Because you got to think, burn is a debuff, freeze is a debuff, Ice Crystals is a debuff. Like, there's a lot of different things that are going to be going on with my team that is going to have debuffs going on if I'm working Kikoru in. And I think that she'll be able to really utilize this weapon to the maximum capacity. But I do like that she's getting extra damage after she does her blast attack. You know, she's getting an extra 15% damage though if a Kaiju's already debuffed. And it just gives her extra slash damage straight up. It's just an all-around good weapon for her. And then this weapon right here, I actually picked up from the Proof of Valor shop, because I did not have the axe for her just yet, and this one still gives slash damage, and this one gives attack whenever the unit attacks, instead of it being like attack whenever the unit is attacking a debuffed enemy, which I'll have to play around with these two and swap them back and forth. But maybe the next best weapon for Kikoru is going to be the AR VAR. But I don't know, like I said, I don't know that I would spend my Proof of Metal shop coins on this, because I feel like there are weapons that actually are like guaranteed better for certain characters in the game already that you could be picking up instead. But maybe you could pick up this Mantis here. Let's see. Extra attack, and then when the equipped unit attacks a core exposed Kaiju, deals extra damage. Yeah, that's not bad for Kikoru. Yeah, that one's pretty solid. The Axe Mantis looks like it's pretty solid. We're not even gonna look at the 3-star Axe. Oh, I didn't even read the rest of this. This one not only gives you slash damage, this one also gives you attack whenever you attack with the unit, but also when attacking, whenever a unit causes a Kaiju core to be exposed, applies damage dealt plus 12%. So basically the same kind of like buffs, just in different ways, but the buffs from the actual axe right here are a little bit better. So I'm gonna stick to this axe for this Kikoru right now, and I actually have the 4-star Kikoru on this axe at the moment. But the axe 0112 is gonna be the best axe for her. Plus, that is her actual axe from the anime, I'm pretty sure. That is like kind of like word of advice. If the weapon looks like their actual weapon from the anime, probably their best weapon, I'll be real. Alright chat, it's about that time in the video where the dead man fantasizes about summoning for the characters because he's reading over their passives at the moment. But the first passive for Kikoru is going to be Decisive Axe Strike. When attacking a kaiju that already has a debuff, this unit's crit rate is plus 15%. So this is the part of her Ascension that I was talking about that only gives her 15% crit rate buff, and it's for a very specific thing, when the kaiju is already debuffed. Which granted, when you hop into a mission with Reno, he starts off with the enemies having ice crystal. Actually, I think that's when you have that's when you're at a certain level of Ascension. Or is that part of his natural passive? I can't remember at the moment. But you saw my roster of characters, bro. I'm not necessarily thinking about putting Kikoru onto a team like first thing whenever I'm building a team for something. She is that unit that I put on secondary to Narumi whenever I need to do a stage that has like slash damage. But honestly, at that point, I can switch in between her or Hoshina. It just turns out that she was worked on a little bit more because I didn't have Hoshina just yet. But now that I have Hoshina, I'd probably switch in between either or. But she does have one extra dupe than Hoshina, so maybe it would still be her winning out most of the time. A2 is going to be Lasting Slash. Turn duration of the defense debuff applied by the ultimate is +1. Now that I do kind of want, but again, not really too pressed to like go summon it. Like, bro, all the summons I've done on the standard banner in this game thus far, even though I have been spending money in the game, have all been free to play, not even free to play crystals. They've all been tickets. Yeah, I don't spend crystals on that standard banner, but I spend tickets and crystals on the, what is it called? Regular pickup banners. There we go. So it's just like my pickup banner summons are a lot more, like I have 600 pity points for the pickup banner versus the 170 points that I have for the standard banner, or 160 points even, maybe, I don't know. But yes, I do not have enough to buy a dupe of a character from the standard banner shop, but I do have enough to buy a weapon from the standard banner shop. But as it stands right now, I nearly have all the like basic weapons in the game that are 5-star, like A4. So it's just kind of like there's not really much of a point in me doing that right now, especially when I know that my summons are going to be riddled with way more weapons in the future. Because guys, if you have watched the summon video that I posted yesterday, was it maybe? If you guys watched that video, then you would know that the dead man just pulls 5 stars or back to back to back to back to back to back to back, whether they're the 5-star he wants or whether they're not the 5-star that he wants. He just be pulling them. As we know, the A3 and the A5 is just going to be boosting, boosting certain parts of the kit. But this one is a little bit different because it doesn't boost the normal attack and the combat skill. This one boosts the normal attack and the passive skill, and then this one boosts the combat skill, ultimate, and follow-up skill. So guys, I don't know if you knew that, but some characters, the skills that get buffed from A3 and A5, they will be switched around a little bit for some characters. Like one character that made me notice that in the first place was Mina, the 5-star Mina. But you can see here on A4, we have aggressive combat style, ultimate gauge charge rate plus 10%. That's really good because that's just like a natural 10% buff, just gonna be always there no matter what whenever she's boosting her ultimate gauge. So that's really good. Then we can see here for A6, after activating the ultimate, this unit's tip-top shape will not be consumed. And I'm so sorry, chat. I thought that she got a 2 extra stats of tip-top shape, but there's another character that I'm thinking of who gets an extra 2 stacks of something whenever you get them to a certain ascension level. Is it Kafka? Is it Kaiju number 8? Does he get 2 more stacks of fighting spirit? That might be what I'm thinking of. Hold on, chat. I gotta confirm this because like I can't believe we were in this whole video and I was just giving y'all that misinformation right there. Let's see. Yes, it is Kaiju number 8. And since Kikoru and Kaiju and Kafka are like such good homies, maybe I was just thinking about both of them, or since they both are so like dependable to each other, it's a weird relationship they have. But at the start of battle applies, so yes, he gives himself an extra 2 stacks of his personal buff, but Kikoru does not give you the extra 2 stacks of what is it, tip top shape. But even still, the A6 still stands as what I said before. Like, she is somebody that you just want to have A6 so you never lose those tip-top shape stacks. Because you already saw that the tip-top shape stacks were already pretty decent at level 1, so they're only going to get better at level 10. They're only going to get better at level 12, which by the time you get her to A6, they would definitely be at level 12 too, because you've summoned the dupes to unlock that as well. But then they're just going to be there all the time. that is the biggest shift probably in dupes for a character yet, just because, like, yes, Sagan gets an entire extra shield whenever she gets to A6, but she already is really good at defending the entire team. She's already good at taunting. She's already good at giving herself a shield and staying alive. So it doesn't really feel, I feel like it won't feel that different once she gives everybody the shield. It'll be nice, but it won't feel that different, right? Because my team has only ever taken like 1 or 2 AoE attacks whenever Sagan is there anyway. We're usually getting the units broken, the enemies broken. We're usually keeping them under control. But like Kikoru here is just like, a part of her kit literally just goes from temporary, sometimes, proc, to like permanent. It's just always there, just always there. So I think that Kikoru at A6 is looking really good, but if you don't have her A6, she might be looking a little inconsistent, but that's okay because she is not the greatest character in the game, and that is what the point of these other 5-star characters really are, is to kind of be filling in the gaps where you can't get the character that can fill in all the gaps by themselves, right? And also these gaps are here so that they have something that is obvious for them to work on whenever they do finally decide to push and advance the unit to that next level. But now we need to talk about our battle buddy situation. So as of right now, guys, it's no big surprise. I already said it in my Hoshina video that I posted yesterday, but I just think that 4-star Hoshina is the best battle buddy in the game if you are if you are an offensive character that's pure purpose is straight up offense, Hoshina is gonna be your best friend till the end of days, bro. 4-star Hoshina, because Kikoru gives herself a lot of extra buffs that are related to damage, but not really anything for like speed. So with Hoshina giving her a crazy amount of extra speed, she can look a lot more menacing. She's not gonna look, you know, Narumi level, but like something similar to it. I still would say, you know, even with the crit rate, crit damage, no matter what, Hoshina is still gonna be, I don't even know why I'm talking about the gear sets, what? But Hoshina is just gonna be that end-all be-all W man for anybody that's a damage dealer. And I do have another one just in case you're Hoshina. And also Hoshina was given away for free at the start of the game. So it's just like, you definitely have Hoshina anyway. You may not have him A6, like me. I don't have him A6. I have him A5 because Hoshina, 4-star, just loves to run away from me consistently in these summons. Somehow, yes, I am still chasing a 4-star character in a game that I have all the 5-star characters. It sounds insane, I know. But still, Hoshina is just absolutely goated. And if you don't want to put Hoshina there, you can put 4-star Mina there as well because she has her morale buff. But her morale buff is literally just like a straight up damage thing, which Kikoru is already a straight up damage thing. So if you wanted to build onto her with more stuff similar to what her kit already works like, Mina. But if you want to give her an extra little piece that she's missing, Hoshina is definitely going to be it. But if you guys did enjoy this video and felt that this video was informational for you and felt that you got a good understanding of the character, anything like that, or if you are a Steam player and you're watching this, you know, in advance, and who knows, the dead man is just speculating. But if you're watching this in the future and, you know, Akatsuki did do right by the players and they amended all the mess that happened in the first month and they gave you a selector ticket to select any character in the game at the start of the game, or they didn't do that, but they kept the banners extended for a longer time and the character select is still exactly the same as it is, like, just know that like Kikoru ain't one of the ones that you need to be picking up, my boy. But even still, I just want you guys to have an idea of how these characters work so that, again, you can look at these characters and say, oh, I kind of like that. I'm willing to deal with all the extra little quirks in their kit, or, oh no, that doesn't seem good enough for me to be spending my currency on, right? I don't know if I want that. There's a lot of different avenues of thinking that are going to come from these videos, so that's why I continue to make these videos, so that we can make like a little platform for everybody to kind of share their opinions, right? Because not only is this supposed to be you guys just like a shut up, sit down, listen classroom, no, this is supposed to be you guys learning and interacting so that we can all learn together. Because all it takes is somebody commenting under a video and saying like, oh dude, I actually worked on this unit and you were incorrect about this little thing, Deadman. I actually tested this out and this works this way. Then all of a sudden the entire community just grew, because then I can go back and make another video about the character and talk about like, hey yo, actually this thing actually works this way. I was wrong about this. I'm sorry guys. But again, if you guys did enjoy the video, then you can go down below, you can leave a like, you can hit the subscribe, you can hit the notification bell, you can hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the dead man hits the Kaiju glide. And you guys can also comment down below and let me know what you want to know. And guys, let's get ready for the Steam release. I feel like October is going to be the big turnaround month for Kaiju number 8. So I'm going to get prepped up as much as I can and get as many guides out for you guys as I can. Like, it's just a weird state because this came out right before my birthday. I was on chill mode for my birthday. Now my birthday's over. But literally my sister's birthday is 5 days after mine. And my sister went on a trip. My mom went with her, so like I'm still kind of on like birthday duty, even like, you know, making sure people get to and back from their trip safely. So it's just like I'm still dealing with birthday stuff, and it's not even my birthday at this point, right? And then, you know, I got a homie whose birthday's like, yeah, we're not even gonna talk about birthdays right now, but all that stuff happened, and now like I'm ready to get back locked into it. But now we gotta wait for October and see what happens as well. And we still got that JoJo's game on the way, and we still got 7DS Origins on the way this year. Man, a lot of good stuff coming this year, and I'm ready to see it all. But I am still enjoying Kaiju number 8. So you guys enjoy the video, or I hope that you enjoyed the video. And please, 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 if you don't remember anything, remember that the dead man loves you. Y'all have an excellent day. Peace out.